In today's Model 42 video, I'm giving you guys the top 5 overpowered guns you guys need to be using. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe with notifications turned on, and let's hop into this. All right, so for our first gun here today, we're going to be taking a look at the Lockman sub. This is personally one of my favorite builds to use on it, and it is such a good gun, so I'd highly recommend you guys actually try out the Lockman if you're not using it already. But let's actually get into it. So first thing on here is going to be the FTAC Castle Comp, horizontal and vertical recoil control. This is hugely beneficial for this gun, considering this is going to be a very high mobility build. You want to be able to, compensate for that recoil. The tune on this is going to be a negative 0.36 and a plus 0.14, so try that out. After that, we're going to go up in here to the barrel section. After that, we got the FTAC barrel here for the increase in bullet velocity, damage range, recoil control, and hipfire accuracy. This is an incredibly beneficial thing to run. I believe this gun is so much more effective when you guys run this barrel on here in comparison to running any other barrel or just running no barrel at all. The tune on this is going to be a plus 0.26 and negative 0.25, so that's going to be my tune for that. After that, we're gonna go down here to the outer barrel section, the phase 3 grip, aiming idle stability, hipfire accuracy, recoil stabilization. We always gotta love the phase 3, that or the FTAC gripper 56. Pretty much any either or of those is going to be fantastic for the guns, and so I'd recommend you guys try the phase 3. I've seen people try to run like the Merc 4 grip or something else like that, but I believe the phase 3 works out perfectly fine. The tune on this is going to be a negative 0.36 and a plus 0.14. And then after that, going down here to the bottom section, we got the 40 round mag. I don't believe you guys need the 50 round mag on this thing. It's going to slow it down a little bit too much. I'd say 40 works out perfectly fine, just because we're trying to bump it up from that base 30. So I believe, even this for like if you're playing Warzone, it's going to work out better for you to have the 40 as opposed to like the 50. Though, I mean, it's a little bit more personal preference at this point. Then for our last attachment, up in here, we got the LM stockless mod, ADS speed, sprint to fire, movement speed, and hip recoil control. Overall, this is such a great thing to be able to run on this gun, and I'd highly recommend for you guys to run the LM stockless mod. This is my full build here. Now let's move on to our next gun. Our next gun is going to be something that I've absolutely dominated with here recently. That's going to be the TAC V. This is a disgustingly good gun that's got such a fast TTK. I mean, it's like a 1 to 2 shot kill pretty much. You catch someone a little bit out of health, I mean, it's going to be a 1-shot kill. This is a crazy good gun, and I got a great build for it. All right, so here's my general overview of my attachments for this gun. Now let's get in here and break everything down. A lot of these are going to be centered more around recoil control because this thing's got a lot of kick. But first thing's going to be the Sakin Tread -40. Horizontal and vertical recoil control. Well, it's actually flipped vertical and horizontal, but it doesn't really matter. Pretty much this is going to help out with the recoil control quite considerably, and that's going to be pretty necessary on this gun to make sure you're able to hit your shots. The tune on that's going to be a plus 0.52 and a plus 0.15. After that, we're going to go down here to the underbarrel section, the FTAC gripper 56, aiming idle stability, fire accuracy, recoil stabilization. Like I was saying, between the phase 3 grip and the FTAC gripper 56, these are kind of like my favorite grips to run. It just works so well on pretty much every single gun out there. And then the tune on this is going to be a plus 0.65 and a plus 0.28. After that, we're going to go down here to the magazine section. We have to increase the magazine size up to that 30. It comes with a base round of 20, so I definitely recommend to go for the 30. 50 feels like it's gonna be a little bit too slow. This gun's not like super agile, super mobile, and we really don't want to slow ourselves down more. And we're not trying to camp and play like certified pussies. We're actually just trying to like actually play the game, run around a little bit. So we're going to be using a 30 round mag. After that, we're going to go up here into the laser section, the FSS OLE-V laser, ADS speed, aiming stability, and sprint of fire. Overall, just something I love running on a lot of my different guns. It just works out beautifully for ARs, SMGs. Doesn't matter what it is. It just works great for everything. It really stabilizes this gun out while actually still giving you, speed benefits. And for our last attachment in here, we got the FSS combat grip for that increase in recoil control. Normally speaking, I'd like to go for something like, the demo clean shot here, sprint to fire and ADS, but I mean, you really can't do that with this thing just because, I mean, this gun does need that extra recoil control. I originally had it on there. I was like, man, this thing kicks way too much. So I moved over to the combat, and now it actually performs a lot better. And then the tune on this is going to be a plus 0.77 and a negative 0.39. So that's my full build right there. I dropped almost a triple nuke with this setup, so it is really good. All right, next up, I'm going to give you guys one of my more refined builds here for the Cast-Off 74U. This is still a top tier gun right here, and I drop a lot of nukes here with this specific setup. And it's just so incredibly good, and I believe you guys out there should be using the Cast-Off, even regardless if it's been nerfed in any capacity. You should be using this setup. This is my general base overview of these attachments, so let's get in here and break this all down for you guys. First thing in here, echoless AD suppressor, sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness. We definitely need to increase in damage range because it did get a bit of a damage nerf at one point here a little while ago, so we're trying to increase that as much as possible, and this can help us out with that. So definitely recommend that. And also the recoil control benefits are great as well. The tune on this is going to be a negative 1.40. That's like one of the first things we have maxed out, and then a negative 0.84 there on the bottom. So definitely try it out. After that, we're gonna go up here to the barrel section. Short tack, 330 millimeter barrel, recoil control, hip recoil control, and bullet velocity. You lose a tad of the damage range here, but don't worry, we've made up for that, you know, and then some here with that suppressor. But this is just a great option. I mean, I feel like this gun is so much more effective here when I happen to run the short tack. It works out so nice. The tune on this is going to be a plus 0.15 and a plus 0.34. After that, we're going to move down here to the underbarrel section, run the phase 3 grip here once again, aiming idle stability, hip fire accuracy, and of course recoil stabilization. I just run this, like I said, on a bunch of my different guns. The tune on that's going to be a negative 0.57 and a plus 0.22, so I definitely give that a try. After that, we're going to move here to the back, and we're going to go for the rear grip, the true tack grip, sprint to fire, and ADS speed. I mean, this is just one of those things that I love, you know, doing. I love speeding up my guns, so I'd highly recommend you guys run the true tack. The tune on this is going to be a negative 0.74 and a negative 0.35. And then for our last attachment here that my face cam's covering, the Marquee R7 stock, crouch, movement speed, sprint speed, and ADS speed. Gotta love the Marquee R7. You guys could also run the O-Trees but probably recommend staying away from the stock list just because this is really gonna mess with your recoil control, and this gun kind of likes to bounce already as is. It's not one of those guns that has super low recoil off rip. As soon as you start adding attachments to it, it just likes to bounce around. I'm not sure why. So I just go for the Marquee R7 and it works out great. The tune on this can be a negative 1.81 and a negative 0.62. And that's going to be that. So that's my full build there. Dropped plenty of nukes with the setup. Highly recommend you try it out. So I guess I can't really preview this weapon here to talk about it for a second, but the Bryson 800 is one of the most effective shotguns here in the game. I highly recommend you guys use the Bryson 800. It's like halfway off the screen right there with how this thing is actually built. But this is such a good gun, and I highly recommend you guys to try it out if you're trying to use a shotgun and be effective. I don't like running against shotgunners, but if I'm going to give you guys a shotgun build that's going to be useful, this is going to be it. First thing in here is going to be the SA Schwingen DX. However, I just butchered that. You guys get the point. Sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness. Damage range is a huge thing for these shotguns because we're trying to extend that out as far as possible considering their pump action, and we're trying to be able to get those one-shot kills. So this is going to be huge to be able to have this. The tune on this is going to be a negative 0.63 and a plus 0.39. Got to make sure our bullet velocity is out there and our ADS speed is up. Don't care as much about recoil smoothness considering it is a pump action, so that's not something we're really worried about. After that, we're going to go up in here, throw on the largest barrel possible, the 29.5 rifled barrel. That's going to give you the largest increase in damage range, tighter pellet spread, and bullet velocity. Tighter pellet spread is something that is very nice on all these shotguns. Definitely you should be taking notice of that because you don't want a wider pellet spread, you want a tighter pellet spread that allows you to have a better hip fire, you know, and also when you're ADSing, that means the pellets are going to go more of where you're actually shooting because it's not like it's one projectile, it's pellets. Obviously it's a shotgun, so definitely keep that in mind when you're building out your guns. The tune on this is going to be a negative 0.31 and a plus 0.25. Got to get that extra damage range out there. And then next up, we're going to go in here to the laser section, the Schlager ULO-66 laser, hip fire accuracy and hip recoil control. So I just like bolstering my hip fire accuracy a little bit considering it's a, you know, it's a pump action shotgun. You can get some pretty nice hip fires out, but you can also go for something like the VLK laser 7MW if you'd prefer to have a little bit more sprint to fire and ADS speed. You guys can pretty much switch between the two of these, and of course there's no tuning for it, so it's pretty like plug and play in terms of that. After that, we're going to go back here to the stockless pistol grip here. This is going to give you a massive increase to your ADS speed, sprint to fire, movement, and hip recoil control. So I love running this. I believe this should be a standard on pretty much any of your shotgun builds to have like a no stock. Pretty much this, it doesn't matter like this or the sawed off. I mean, your stats aren't changing. It's literally the look of it. Whatever you want it to look like, it doesn't matter. It's not doing nothing. So just go ahead and try it out. And or if it does anything, it is so unbelievably minimal that you cannot see on that graph. So that's just kind of that. And for our last attachment down here, we got the Demo X50 Tactical Pump. This is going to give you an increase in rechambering speed, crouch movement speed, and ADS speed. Don't care about that crouch movement speed, but the rechambering and the ADS is what we really care about. Rechambering, you know, how fast you can kind of get another shell in there, like how fast you can cock it back and, you know, obviously be ready to go again. So definitely that's like a huge thing. The tune on this is going to be in plus 0.09 and a negative 0.16. So that's my full build here for the Bryson 800. Definitely try it out. I don't really like playing against shotgunners, but if I have to, you know, give you guys a build, this is it. Well, the game's let me preview this, no problem. So for our last gun here today, we got the SPR. So this is a crazy build for the SPR. I've actually gone ahead and dropped a couple nukes of this build, and it is disgusting. Like, you can, if you're playing against this, you're to be wondering why you got, you know, one-shotted like so quick from either like up close, medium distance, or across the map. It's pretty much all the above. It is insane. So let's get into it. So this is my super high mobility build for the SPR. I don't run around with snipers like an actual sniper rifle. I choose to run around with this like I'm running around with an AR, an SMG, and you can pretty much do that with the SPR in this game. So first attachment here is going to be the 12.5 carbon barrel. You get a pretty big increase to your ADS speed, hit recoil control, and movement speed. It says you lose some damage range and bullet velocity, but I've already tried it out in the firing range and I've tested it out in game plenty. You're not losing that one hit kill potential at that medium to longer range. You're just not losing it, so that doesn't really matter all that much. The tune on this is going to be a plus 0.27 and a plus 0.31. Just got to make sure we're extending that damage range as much as possible and not giving us more ADS speed, considering this gun is super fast as is. After that, FSS OLE-V laser, ADS, aiming stability, and sprint to fire. Like I said, for some of these other lasers, I like switching between this, the 7MW. It works great for pretty much any build out there. After that, we're gonna go here to the stock, the ZLR T70 pad extension, crouch movement, sprint speed, and of course ADS. This is just something we got to speed this gun up as much as possible, so we're running this. The tune on that's going to be a negative 3.23 and a plus 1.94. After that, now down in here to the comb, we have the aim assist 406. Kind of funny how it's called aim assist, considering you get plenty of aim assist here when you're using this gun. But sprint to fire and ADS speed, just, I mean, something, you know, pretty fun to be able to have. The tune on that's going to be a negative 0.19 and a negative 0.06. So just got to speed this thing up as much as possible. And of course, recoil stabilization, we don't really care. It's a bolt action gun. You're probably going to be unzooming out, you know, by the time you actually take someone out. So recoil stabilization, not really that big of a deal. And then for our last attachment in here, the FSS ST87 bolt. Rechambering speed, much like the shotgun. You know, of course, you have to, you know, cock the bolt back, get the next bullet in there. So, I mean, you got to be able to have that fast rechambering to be able to go on those tears. So I recommend for you guys to run this. That's my full build there. This is my full top 5. You guys enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe. Of course, check out one of these other videos here on screen. Just right up, don't be Randy, and I'm out. Peace.